I've been tightening up the curve on the end here. This is the rear end of the outer sill. I've shrunk the metal here, which has brought the curve around more, a tighter curve. The curve appears to be quite good at this stage, but the flange is just sitting up a little bit from basically from there to there. It's about a 5mm gap here, which I've got to rectify. So what I'm going to do is to just try and pull this flange down, and I'll do that with some straps. I'm going to put 3 straps, one here, one there, and probably one there. Now I've put a thin metal bar there to hold the flange completely across where I've going to strap it. And I'll just put the straps on now and see if I can just bring that down. This only needs to come here about 5mm and less at the end, so I'll just see if I can do that. I've just been winding the straps up. So my aim was to get a 5mm closer gap there, which just on a quick measurement I seem to have. I had to put another piece of metal inside the channel up here and make sure I didn't fold that down. So I did that. Now, I didn't do the 5mm all at once. I've just progressively increased the tension, then released to see how much it moved. I've just released them off. It appears to be 5 and fairly even, but I'll need to do another check with it on the body. Now I've almost got the final position for this piece here. To do that, I've had to put the sill in position, outer sill. This side panel, I've just been working on that, getting the fit right for that. It's taken quite some time, and mainly because I damaged this when I was getting the other old panel out, so it was a little bit out of shape, so it's taken me a while to reshape that. I think I've now got it. It's fitting well at the bottom here, so that can be lead loaded. It's all right at the top here. I made a template of the rear end of the bonnet on this side, so I know that the shape I've ultimately got to have around here. Now I've got that very close except for the lead loading area in there, so that's fine. The other critical point I've been working on is the gap between the bulkhead here and the rear of the wheel arch where the bonnet comes down. Now I've been moving the sill forward and backwards to get that measurement right. It should give me about by the time it's finished, about a 5mm gap at the between the bonnet and the bulkhead here. So that appears to be about right. So just a little bit more to make sure it's in the right position, then I'll tech screw this in before I weld it, and I'll also tech screw this side bulkhead panel in. I might as well position that, and I'll tech screw the outer sill. I won't be welding that at this stage, but I'll tech screw that in position. So just want to get all of this in position. The final test will be I'll put the door frame in, make sure everything's aligned properly before I go any further. With the passenger side, the sill has now been fitted. I've tech screwed it in place. The additional shrinkage I did on there worked, so that's fitting perfectly onto the floor, so that's good. as they all tick screwed in. I'm not welding that in at this stage. What I've been doing is welding this piece in. That's now done. The welding's just been finished. The side panel, of course, has been fitted. It's once again, I'm not going to weld that in this stage. I've just tick screwed it just to make sure it's in the right position. I'll leave that for the time being. I've temporarily put the inner door on just to make sure everything lines up. Everything seems to line up pretty well. A little bit of adjustment to do, not too much. So that checks out alright. What I'm about to do now is to finish welding these bulkhead panels in. Now they're all once again tick screwed into place, and it's just a case of running around and putting the welds in. So that's what I'm about to do, and then that will basically lock up all of this side, with the exception of the outer sill, the front side panel, but the main parts will be all welded and locked up. So I'll just finish that now. This side's all been welded up, so the bulkhead is welded all the way around. It's fitted in, obviously. Spent a lot of time making sure the fit was right. I've just sprayed that with some cold gal just to preserve it while I work on the rest of the car. The sill, I'll put it, might screw it back on, including the side panel, just to get it off the floor. As I said before, I'm not welding that at this stage. I've moved to the other side. Got to do the same thing on this side. This little side panel, I've already had to do a repair at the end there. I used the oxy for this. It was a little bit easier than using the MIG. So I've put an end tip on the end, and this is the piece that was there, rusted out. So I've saved the rest of it. I've just done a prelim fit. That does fit on there. So that's working out okay. I'm now working on the sill. Same problems. The curve at the rear is not tight enough, so I've got to tighten that up, shrink that, and hopefully everything else will go together properly, including the side panel, but I haven't checked that yet. I'll get the sill reshaped and fitting first. Now this is the rear of the sill. I've just shrunk the area in here to get the curve right. The curve's fitting pretty close. I'm now going to bring this flange down, same as I did on the other side. It's, what was it written on there, 2mm out there and about 5 to 7 out down here. So I've just got to fold those back in a bit. I'll do that with straps. And what I've just noticed is I have a problem down in the bottom area here. And you can see that. The bottom of the sill here has been bent inwards. Now, I don't think that's the way it was made. I'd suggest that's probably transit damage, so I've got to look at how I fix that. It's only just in the top end that it's just sort of bent in this way. So I'll see if I can reshape that. Hopefully that won't be too bad. The other end of the sill, it's a few mil out there. I've got to fold that in a little bit, not too much. So that shouldn't be too difficult. But this stage, this will be the problem I've got to work on. I've now reshaped this end of the sill. It's come down and fits the floor neatly. I could probably take that flange down here about 1 millimetre. I might fold that down a bit more. It will actually hold down with Tek screws, and there's a little bit here I've got it's about 2 millimetre high. I could fold that down too, so that's not so much of a problem. The bend down here, I've got it all out except a little bit in the corner there, which I'll pick up with the lead loading, so I'm not too worried about that. That's come in nicely. Having fitted the sill to the shape anyway, I now need to turn the car over and make sure that the side panel here fits properly and the piece in here fits properly. So I might have to adjust this backwards or forwards. I also need to look at the gap I've got between here and the wheel arch here. Make sure that the bonnet will fit down into there with sufficient gap. So I've yet to do that. But mainly the aim at this stage was to get the curve right, the fit pretty close. Now I've got that close enough, I'll turn the car over, work on this and the closing panel in here to make sure I've got those all fitted properly. And then I'll come back and then Tek screw everything, and when I do that I'll probably fold these flanges down just to see a little bit of movement in there. As I say, the Tek screw would hold that down, but I might just fold it down a fraction. All the bulkhead repairs are now done, and what I'm going to do now is to actually do some seam sealer. Now, when I was taking these rotten panels off, the amount of seam sealer was quite significant, particularly in around here. Very thick wads of it, also up around the top, some around here on the bottoms. So what I'm going to, and also in here, there's a sealer in there. So I'm going to go around and put some sealer in. I may not finish the sealer off in terms of sanding it back, but I was going to actually put it in any gaps and so on that I find. So that's what I'll do next, and then that will actually finish off the work on this part of the car. So anyway, also sealer was down in here, so there's quite a lot to go around, so I might as well go around and I'll put it wherever I've got a seam that's likely to allow water to come into the car. So, and there's quite a few of those, so I'll go around and spend quite some time putting that sealant in.